Welcome to Your Visionary Podcast. This podcast is specifically for you and your vision. Get ready to grow. Let's go.
Life is in the detour, so every detour we experience, that's an opportunity to learn something.
You sell yourself. Doesn't matter if you're selling ice in Alaska or if you're selling sugarcane in Haiti. They're going to buy from you.
Man, all of this knowledge is in captivity when it should be out in the world. He couldn't believe that I had 25 years, but the way I carried myself, you'd have thought I had 25 days left.
We try to be something so great, and we forget that we're just being humans. We're human beings, and it's like we're enough right here.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Your Visionary Podcast. I'm your host, Visionary CJ, and today we're going to play part 2 of the Your Visionary Leadership panel. But before we get into that, I just want to share some news with you guys. First of all, if you're new to the channel, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And we're up to episode number 24 now. It's been a long journey over the past 10, 11 months. So if you haven't heard any of the previous episodes, please go check those out. And we're also about to slow it down now because I'm getting ready to graduate from Kennesaw State. And so I'm kind of entering that post-graduation phase or season of my life. And so it's going to take a lot of time and energy from me that I can't really put into the podcast right now. And so I'm thinking about releasing an episode once a month. And so I'll still be having valuable content, but just doing that will kind of take a load off of my plate so I can focus on, my career and my future, but also still give some energy to the podcast. And so with that being said, I'll be able to just invest more time in each episode every month. And so even though it won't be frequent content, it will be high quality content, which is one thing that I want to get better at doing, is just building, high quality content. If you're listening to this part 2 of the panel and you didn't listen to part 1, I want to give you another reminder that the quality or the sound quality isn't the best because it was a loud room. Maybe didn't have like direct access to all the microphones, but it's still great content, great information. So make sure you guys listen to the end. And if you weren't able to make it, I'll be having another event in December. And so stay tuned to all of our platforms to get more information on that. On Instagram, you can follow me personally at Visionary Siege, and that's Visionary CEEJ. And you can follow the podcast at Your Visionary Podcast. So there it is. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you do, please go on iTunes, go on Spotify, and leave a 5-star review and a comment. I really appreciate all of them. I do go and look at every single one of them, and so it's super important to me. It just gives me a better idea of how we're making an impact and if we're making an impact. And so there it is. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Your Visionary Leadership Panel, Part 2. Let's get it.
Yeah. So while in college, many people are dealing with stress and doubt, right? And so whether it is because of a test or uncertainty about their career path, or the belief that they're not where they should be, what are some action steps that you take to overcome some of these emotions?
What I usually do to relieve stress like that is just taking time just for myself, not really self-care, but doing things that I like to do that interest me. Like my hobbies such as writing, doing yoga, meditation, working out, whatever it may be. I just do that to just kind of unwind and kind of get my mind off the school aspect and school and aspect of just everyday college life, relationships, clubs, classes, stuff like that. And also realizing that when people fail tests, they fail class, they think it's the end of the world. And I am the same way. And I'm still working on it, I'm still learning and adapting. But we have to realize that it's not the end of the world. We're 19, 20, 22, 23. We're really, really, really young. And it's something I have to realize. And I think about it every single day. But if you can't really take an L, you kind of have to just learn from the other, grow, and treat it as a lesson. And realize that if you fail a class or you fail a test, because I'm in college or whatever, it's not the end of the world. That's not what it is. There's time to just improve. And also realizing that we're all doing the same thing. So I feel it's being a leader, for me personally, is not really leading with authority, but leading with just love and passion and being someone that people can come to and talk to about their everyday problems or when they want to share something with somebody, and realizing that we're all dealing with problems. So no one really has anything really figured out. Honestly, we're all struggling at the end of the day. So it's just like, to be a leader is like, just realize that, just be a genuine person, just be like one person, realize that like people can come to you, they can relate to you, and they can just share things with you.
Yeah, that's good. And then Kayla, so you're considered to be a mentor to a lot of women, and some people even see you as a counselor to help them solve a lot of their problems. And some people would like to even place themselves in your shoes at times, but they don't see about the problems that arise in your own life, right? So what are your thoughts on self-care and helping others to deal with their own trials?
Ooh. Self-care is definitely important. I feel like we can get caught up in life and end up going and going and going, and we end up being so busy that we forget like how to take care of ourselves. I feel like I'm just now beginning to tap into understanding self-care and understanding what self-worth and self-value is. Like, I've always known, value yourself, love yourself, but to really spend time with yourself, find things that you like, find things that you like to do. Like, you really have to grow into learning yourself and knowing yourself. In terms of like how to deal with your triumphs, I feel like you really just have to be patient and take everything as a lesson. Like, I'm so big on signs. Like, I'd be like, oh, I know that was a sign for God. Oh, God, I know that was you. Like, I know, like, I'm so big on signs because I just feel like you have to take everything for the value of what it is. Like, and that's not through overthinking, but it's just through, like, being appreciative, like, just expressing gratitude. You have to be patient knowing that there's going to be some tough days. There's going to be some L's. There's going to be some W's. You're going to have to take everything, like I said, with a grain of salt. And you just also have to know, like, since we're speaking on leadership, I feel like a main important key to defeating all of, like, the trials that you go through is learning how to follow before you lead. Like, a lot of people think leadership is just being the first, being the head, but sometimes leadership is being the tail and allowing yourself to be receptive, allowing yourself to receive, allowing yourself to know, like, okay, I took an L, but what is that going to do to humble me and help me to move forward, So I feel like that's definitely important to that I deal with on a daily basis.
That's good. Can we get a round of applause for that? So Mecca, so fitness is a huge part of your life and always been, since middle school. Very young Olivia, we all know you since middle school. So we remember you like flipping in and sharing. It's been amazing. But we also seen your downfalls and many times you've been hurt. And so how have you been able to just look past that and overcome all your hurdles to get to where you are now in fitness?
So that's a good question. So with fitness being in my life, since I could remember since I was 4, I've always just had that nature in me to fight and, push. So literally, yeah. So when I graduated high school, something bad happened every year. High school tore my Achilles. Freshman year of college, I was, recovering from that. Still managed to run track. So after that injury, ran track collegiately D1. Sophomore year, got a concussion. Still was able to, push past that, fight, and, still compete. Junior year, I decided I didn't want to run anymore. I wanted to cheer. I've always, like you said, flipped and stuff like that. I've been a gymnast for a long time, so I wanted to cheer. Tore my other Achilles. Like, something bad just kept happening. But like I said, just being an athlete all my life, that's just in me to fight, push, overcome. So after that last injury, I didn't, do a sport anymore. I got really, really skinny. I didn't like the way that I was looking. My confidence was really, really low, So I started working back out again when I was able to, and a lot of people were just hitting me up like, Mecca, can I work out with you? Can you work me out? Just reaching out to me. And just, giving me positive words as far as, I see you still pushing, I see you still fighting, and stuff like that. So then I was like, I need to make this into a business. I'm working all these people out, this can be a business. So then I started doing that. I was training out of LA Fitness. I was kind of hustling. I wasn't a trainer at LA Fitness, but I was, training in LA Fitness. Got fired from that because I was training on the side. So still, like I said, I have that nature in me. Still fight. I managed to find a gym freelance where I just pay rent and I train. So, you know, I started making that into a business. It got really, really big. And then after that, you know, I started doing group fitness classes. I started, and I just dropped, like I said, my resistance bands. And I have other, you know, fitness products on the way as well. So yeah, look out for those. But yeah, you know, that's what's kept me going after those busy times.
It's that nature of being a fighter.
That nature of being a fighter, yes.
Austin. My God. So this real talk, you've been like more successful than a lot of people our age. You know, like you've accomplished a lot more than a lot of people. But my question to you, and this is actually from somebody in the audience who asked this about you. They said, when did you start to not look at your age as a factor, but you just start looking at yourself as a business mogul, as a boss, and then you can think about, you know, how young you were or
I mean, at a very young age, like I always just wanted like to make some money. Like even when I was like 5 or 6, just sound like those snow cones at the pool, or just like cutting grass, or you know, just trying to get like any type of like anything, like selling old clothes, selling shoes, or whatever. But then, you know, once you get to college and stuff, and you really have to like sit down and find yourself, it's kind of hard. Like I know everybody's been through this stage where it's like you're trying to really figure out what you want to do. You're looking at all these other people doing this, they're doing that, you're doing this, and you're trying to figure out like what's the best for you. And I just felt like the best thing for me was like just to start selling products. So I knew that, you know, like always since a little kid, like I looked up to like Diddy or like all these people because they were just like rich, and I was like, yo, I just want to be rich. Like that's the whole goal, you know. So we have so many resources now, like with YouTube, anything, like you can find any type of information. So I was just on YouTube every single day, like looking at products. Like it doesn't matter what you want to be. Like if you want to be an artist, you want to be a singer, you want to do YouTube, you can study the top people in each one of those categories and like to a certain extent mimic them, and then build with that and like become your own, you know. So that's really what I did. And then I also learned that all you have to do is just like in this world is really help people. Like the more you help someone, the more like you get back in return. So most people don't realize that. Most people are doing it for them so they can look better. Like most people really, they do everything so they can become this star or this person, but in all reality, if you help someone feel better, you're gonna be better. So once I learned that, I just made products for people that would make them feel good, and then I felt good. So it was literally that simple, and then just structuring that into like kind of a business, and then just really locking in on that and started like to really like Mason was saying earlier, like I kind of separated myself from everybody else because I knew like once you know what you want, you really have to lock in and build in your own world and just do you, because if not, you're gonna take it out. So yeah, that's what I realized. And then through all that, just through growth, I just kept building and building and building and building. And I was building on my own pace, so I wasn't looking at when it's like more successful than other people. I'm not looking at anybody else. I'm in my own world. I'm just building to try to make my day better. And as long as my day is better, that's all that matters to me, you know. So that's just how I got to where I'm at. So yeah.
And I can attest to that. Just like we lived together for 2-3 years, and just seeing that, you know, seeing the process.
Like he always was like, yo, let's go out, let's go out, let's go out, let's go ahead. I'm like, bro, chill. Let me get right.
Yeah, and this real day, like when I spent that time traveling, you know, you was really staying down and just experiencing that, and like you would tell me like, bro, no, I'm focused on this, I'm doing this, doing that. And I'm like, all right, bro, do what you do. I'm about to go to Spain. But now seeing it, bro, it's super dope. You know, I'm glad that I could really witness that for sure. And Mike Russell, so you've been in business longer than anyone on this panel. Yeah, right? So probably maybe combine.
This is right here, Chef.
But what is one skill that has proven invaluable and unwavering throughout your journey in business?
Yeah, that's easy. Hard work. I'm telling you, hard work. And I'm not saying that. It's hard to find people who want to work hard. So I'll tell you an example. I'm writing a book called 750-10, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Success. And part of that is realizing that 18 years ago, I was sitting in your seats doing what you're doing at 7 o'clock at night, and at 7 o'clock the next morning I was at a networking event meeting people. And I now have over 6,000 LinkedIn contacts, and I have 12,000 people that I personally know. And that's how I've grown my business. You know, real estate, it's location, location, location. You want to open up a restaurant across the street from McDonald's, because that's where everybody's going, is McDonald's. So they can say, hey, look at that new place, let's go there. But in entrepreneurship, it's hard work, it's hard work, it's hard work. And that's all I can say. It's 70-hour weeks. It is the commitment. It's getting up, and you said when you have somebody bad say something online, it's being positive. It's getting out of bed and doing things. So that is the number one key to success, and no matter what you do in your life, it's hard work and putting the time in to get it done. And there's negatives to that. There's negatives to your family, negatives to your kids. I mean, I'm now a grandfather. So I now have the ability, though, to spend time with them. It's funny, I was just thinking about something called a business maturity date. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of that. Business maturity date is a date and time with your company that you have the time to do whatever you want to do, you have the money to do whatever you want to do, and you have something significant that you really want to work after. And I started that business maturity date 6 years ago, and Christian has seen my little countdown clock. It's a picture of a chair sitting on the beach with a little umbrella. And that was my retirement clock, and it started at over 1,500 days. And that's 5 years. And when it counted down, I was done. I had achieved the financial success, and in 2020, I will be taking off 23 weeks to travel. So that's what you got to do. You have to put the hard work in, but then you rest. And trying to think of the quote, an entrepreneur is someone who would do the things. I have to Google it and find it. That will do the things today so that you don't have to do the things tomorrow. So you put in the hard work today and you'll get to do it. And that doesn't matter whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're a doctor or whatever you are. If you put in the hard work today, you can reap the benefits early in life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. A round of applause. Now we're going to open up the floor for any questions from you guys. And I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about influence, and they were saying that proximity is influence. So the closer proximity you get someone of influence, the more opportunity for you to be influenced, right? Because it's one thing to just listen to somebody on YouTube, a podcast, TV, where you have the opportunity to just feel their energy and ask them a question directly. You know, it's more beneficial for you because it turns into a real experience, you know, that you're getting. And so with that being said, anyone want to start with a question for any of the panelists?
I have a question. It's for Mecca, but anybody can answer, of course. I want to hear everybody. And it's just with working out specifically, have you ever fell off, or have you ever felt like you haven't been focused on it? So anybody else, have y'all ever felt like y'all haven't been focused on the thing that you needed to be focused on, like you were sidetracked, whether it was something going on in your family, school, work?
Yeah, so working out, that's just something that's gonna come. It's very, very hard to stay consistent 100%, of the time. And that's what I see all the time as well, with people coming to me, like, sometimes you do have to take a month off because things are, happening. But it's all about just starting back, getting back into it, just remembering why you started doing it, because that's gonna get you back doing it. Because, girl, that's my problem. I'll, be consistent for a week, I'm doing good, I'm eating great, and then, something will happen where I may take, 3 days off, I ate horribly, I didn't work out at all, and then I'm like, let me get myself back in the gym, Just remembering, why I need to do what I'm doing, and also just, just getting back into it. Just make sure you get back. Anybody else answer that? Wait, just anything else?
Well, she was saying basically about the struggles that we face. I feel like that's the part people don't see to people of influence. Like I said, they see the good, but they don't see the back end of things. But it's beauty in the struggle, and I think that's what's the most important part about it is that, you deal with those things because we have so many different pressures, like family, school. You gotta still listen to your parents. Regardless, you gonna still want to do what it takes to make them happy. Yeah. So that can be a pressure factor as well. And I just feel like, I don't know, what's important is just knowing that it's significance and being uncomfortable. Okay, well, clearly they care about me, but there's something that they see in me, you know, that they're pushing out of me, I feel like. So, I don't know, just trying to find optimism in every negative is sometimes it's hard, but I feel like when you do take that time off, that's when you can realize that, so.
And like you said, finding that optimism, that's what's gonna get you back.
CJ asked a question earlier. He asked it for Kayla and Mecca. I remember both you guys' responses, but Mecca said something, and it was about how the people that she trains with, sometimes they say, well, I don't like this thing about my body, or they tell you personal stories. I know that before you were able to get to that point in which you were able to help somebody else, you had to go through a shift of personal, mental, and spiritual growth. I would like to know from you guys, what is that thing that you guys use to like personally grow consistently in order to keep affecting people, whether it be products, whether it be influence through social media or training in general? What is your spiritual growth process or mental process in which, you know, keeps you reflecting on yourself in order to grow further?
You mean? Yeah. No, it's easy. That's easy. That's easy. Has anybody seen Simon Sinek's Golden Circle? I know you have, Joey. So Simon Sinek says, it's not what you do or how you do it, it's why you do it. So what I do to motivate my team is, why do we consult on technology? We have a product, that means nothing. Go back to your core values, go back to your culture. And you just said it, spiritually, psychologically, physically, mentally. Our core value starts with faith. We believe God gives us everything that we have, 100%. I'm sitting here because I am. So that's number one, and we instill that in all of our team. And secondly is family. You know, Christian's part of my family. Everybody's part of my company is part of my family. My family is my family. And then the third is giving back to the community. So that is our why. Our mission statement of our company, the technology consulting company, is to leave a legacy in the community. Did you hear the word technology in any of that? No. So when you start out with the why, the what and how comes very easily. So that's how I motivate my people: faith, community service, and family. And then the other two core values comes easily with technology. But until you have those first three, you have nothing. And we talk about it every single Monday.
I feel like I said, capable is all things faith, beauty, lifestyle, women's empowerment. So faith is one of the main important factors that really keep me going. I feel like I always give reverence to God. I talk about God on my channel. I talk about God on my page. And I literally feel like He is the reason why I'm here. Like everything that I do involves God. And I feel like that's really what I have to find as motivation, because I'm not going to lie. Sometimes my mom doesn't agree with everything that I do, and sometimes this wasn't easy. Just saying like, okay, I want to do this. I really want to put time into my brand. Like if she don't see really anything that's kind of like tangible or benefiting from it, it's hard for her to be as faithful to it as I am. But when I'm hearing from God and when I'm spending time with Him, I know like this is my purpose, and I'm driven in that. And I just feel like, you know, understanding that your purpose, you got to understand your purpose, and really just, it takes faith to find that. Like you have to believe in something. You have to literally believe in bigger in order to attain bigger. So I feel like whenever I'm falling off, whenever I'm not where I need to be, I know it's because I haven't been spending as much time with God as I should be, you know. And when I am, it's crazy how stuff would just come into my head like boom, 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 boom. So I feel like that's really where I find my strength and motivation.
I would highly recommend, if you have not watched it, Simon Sinek, The Golden Circle, YouTube it. I think it's a 16-minute video. It will change your life. Whether you're a student, you're a freshman in college, or whether you're an old man like me, it still works. Why? Your purpose is exactly what you said. Simon Sinek, The Golden Circle. Right, Joey?
Answer. Another question, Andrew. So there was a period in the panel when the big topic was change and adapting with the change. My question is about those learning curves. So in your guys' experience, have you come across anything that was really challenging in that regard, as dealing with that learning curve, whether it was yourself or the people around you?
Yeah, for me, like when you sell online, like through social media or anything, everything, Instagram makes so many updates like per year, or just, you know, anything, like all social media. There's so many updates, so like, or even just selling online on like Shopify or Amazon, within like 1 year, the whole platform can change. So the whole thing with the like learning curve is just, like he was saying earlier, you have to fail, but you want to fail like the best way possible and as fast as possible. You want to keep failing. Like if you have 10 shots, you want to shoot, like, you know, take good shots quick. And then if you miss, but keep going. So then, like, instead of you taking 3 years of L's, if you can do that in 6 months, that's so much better. So it's just all about like keep going, like, and at like a really good speed.
Kind of on that note of change, we talked about change and commitment. So I would love to hear from y'all your perspective on when do you continue to persevere, or when do you choose to pivot when you're working hard on an idea and you're not making progress?
That's a great question, because that happened to me. So basically, at the end of my senior year, I had a decision to make, either to keep playing basketball or just go to college. I could have went to this D2 school called Lander in South Carolina or North Carolina, whatever, small little D2 or whatever, because my whole dream is to make it to the NBA. But I'm looking at it like, you have to just look at the probabilities. You have to be honest with yourself and look at the probabilities of where you're at. And if it doesn't line up in your path to that vision is not where it's at, then for me, I felt like it was time to make a switch. Because the whole thing is, I still love basketball and stuff like that, but more important than basketball, it's just the lifestyle of being free and enjoying what I really love to do. So if I can find something else that I love to do to still be free and be successful in that and find a path that's better, I'm going to take whichever one is more probable.
So I've spent millions on not pivoting fast enough. Literally millions. And what I've learned is, who's the founder of Virgin Airlines? What's his name? Richard Branson was at a panel like this, and I asked a question. I said, how many ideas do you come up with every single year? He says, a couple hundred. I said, how many of them actually work? What would you think the answer is? If out of 100? He says about 5. He says, but it used to be a lot less than that. He says, what I now do is I empower my team to look at me and tell me I'm stupid. Now, you don't want to tell him he's stupid? No. But I empower my team to say, you are really not thinking correctly today. Why don't we focus on this and that? So I think that, first of all, pivot faster, like you said, fail fast. And then secondly is listen to your team of the ideas you're suggesting. So I'm actually better than him. I'm at about 10% of mine. Really stick to the wall like cooked spaghetti, and the rest of them just fall right to the ground really fast. But that's what an entrepreneur does.
Of course, I know you have one.
Yeah, that's for anybody. What are some things that you include in your daily routine to kind of get you in that productive mindset, or in your weekly routine to, self-care or keep you productive?
For me, like in my daily routine, what I usually do is I breathe, because like there's a lot of times where we go throughout the day and we don't actually just like take a time to just like breathe and relax and like just figure out what we're gonna do next and our next step. That's what keeps me going throughout the day, and also like just really keeping off my phone, because like there's so many times where I go study and I'm already in bed, and then it's like I'm on my phone for like 5 minutes. I look up and it's been like 30 minutes, and I'm like, I did it again. So what I usually do is throughout the day, I try to like stay off my phone. I only try to be on my phone in the morning when I wake up, and then at night. But throughout the day, I don't even try to be on my phone at all. So yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I'll literally just go into the room by myself and just give myself like my me time, where I'm just thinking and just, really trying to plan my week out, my day out, so it can be as productive as possible. I also YouTube a lot, just like topics and like people that I look up to or like want to be like, absorb those thoughts and those ideas as well. Just like YouTube videos, like TED Talks and stuff. Like me and my boyfriend, we were at one point watching like all Bob Proctor stuff. Just absorbing like that billionaire mindset.
I feel,
Go ahead.
I feel like Two of the main things that I do that's really involved in my self-care is planning ahead. I love my agenda, my notebooks. That really is therapeutic to me, just because I can visualize everything that I have ahead, and it like gives me a sense of all that I have to do, the amount of time that I need per day, the amount of time that I need for getting ready, for leaving the house, whatever the case may be. And another thing that I do, I open my blinds and I water my plants. That's something that I recently did, and it does really help me. You want to get something that you can see growing. I feel like that definitely helps you if you want to visualize how your brand is doing. I always tell myself, if I'm taking care of my plant, that means I'm taking care of myself. If my plant is growing, that means I'm doing something right. So if my plant's not growing, I'm not focused. If my plant is starting to die, then what am I doing with my brain? So it's just like a way that I hold myself accountable. And it really does help. I feel like the plants also give off good energy. So that's something that I really do for self-care.
But you just said it. Calendar. Calendar everything. My whole team, everybody in my company sees everything I do and knows every time I buy toilet paper because it says, go to Costco and buy toilet paper. They're like, you just bought toilet paper. Well, I need some more, okay? So literally everything's on there, but by doing that, you really plan ahead. I did try to block out an hour of the first morning in the office to read leadership. That didn't work. So now I do it at home. So literally the books are right beside my couch. I get my coffee, I've got my Bible study, and I've got my leadership book. And that's what I do. And I just sit there and read. And the TV's on, but I don't even know what the weather is until I finish reading. And just kind of, it's kind of like watering your plants. Yeah.
Real quick, we talked about how some of y'all have had some serious economic success and that millionaire mindset. But have you ever felt in a moment where maybe the potential economic gain was like really high, and then you saw that little green in your eye and you slipped up? And with with 20/20 hindsight, you see, oh, that was a terrible mistake. It wasn't worth it, but you ended up falling for it anyway.
So, yeah, what's your question?
Any slip up where you felt like you were making the right decision and you were going to make a lot of money fast?
Look at a Christian when I'm saying. We've got lots of conversations about this.
I've had an experience where I lost everything, literally, like everything, and it's okay because it's like the quicker you we were just talking about earlier, it's okay to fail. That's the whole point. Like a lot of people, most people are just too scared to fail. With anything, posting a certain type of picture on Instagram, where just people are scared to post your song, scared to do anything, scared to invest, scared to do all this stuff. The whole point of life is to take risks. You can't be successful without taking risks. So the faster you take risks, the faster you fail, the faster you become successful. So, yeah, it really just boils down to that.
So mine's totally opposite. Slow growth. So I only hired somebody if I have enough money to hire somebody. I'm debt free. So, no, I don't need it. Can y'all hear me? Yeah, I figured that out. It's slow growth. And my business maturity date was the date where I could take $1 million a year out of the company and never have to work again. And I hit it. So, did I fail doing it? Could I have done it in 5 years? Maybe. But I did it in 15 years. So, it's kind of slow growth as opposed to thank you. But I will tell you, and maybe I'm wrong, because I think I've got some bright, talented people sitting around me, is if you think you're going to be a millionaire and make $1 million just like that, you better buy a lottery ticket, because that's the only way you're going to do it. Okay? It's hard work. It takes a long time. So make sure you have a plan and strategy in place for it.
I definitely feel like you have to also be careful what you kind of wish for and where you kind of want yourself to be in an X amount of time, because what if you get there, then what are you going to do? What if you're not mentally ready? Like, I remember I was starting t-shirts and I was like, oh, I'm going to make a website. This is going to do great. I already have enough followers. This is going to be perfect. And then it was like it did. Okay. But then it didn't last very long, because I don't think I was mentally prepared for where I even wanted myself to be at with the t-shirts. If they were to start selling, was I going to get more product? Was I going to get more shipment? Like, I hadn't thought it all the way through. So I definitely think to acquire like a millionaire mindset, you do have to plan ahead. You do have to prepare for the good, prepare for the bad. Like, have a plan B. I just feel like you can't always feel like everything's going to come fast. because it's not going to come fast. So just make sure you prepare yourself mentally for where you want to be physically. That's always important.
And I also just feel like it's important to, take those risks and learn from them. Because that's how you're going to grow faster after making that mistake, is learning from it and moving accordingly.
Well, I have a question for you. What % of entrepreneurial startups make $1 million in revenue? Don't answer, Joey, because you probably know. Does anybody know? 4%. 4% of entrepreneurial startups make $1 million in revenue. What % of entrepreneurial startups make $10 million in revenue? 0.04%. Does that give you a little answer? It's hard work.
I posted that on my story too. That's that.
And we in our retreat said we're going to hit $10 million in the next 4 years. So wish me luck. Taking 23 weeks off.
And then, did I answer your question, Billy?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
This is really a question to anybody, but earlier Mike says something about changing with market demand and leadership style. How do you ensure that as you're changing your leadership tactics and your style, that you're maintaining your integrity throughout the entire process and not just shifting ways just because the trend is moving you that way?
I feel like for me personally, and I literally just left a conference from an influencer that I've been following for a while, and she was saying you have to be true to what your purpose of your brand is and what your mission of your brand is. Just because it's trending and just because it's popular and you want to get on the bandwagon just to, get clout or get followers or whatever the case may be, you might lose part of your audience because that's not why they started following you in the first place. So I feel like in making those shifts, it's important, but you also have to remember, because I rebranded my whole page. It was once just makeup tutorials and hair tutorials, but I knew I want to make a shift, but I knew I gotta still accumulate, I still have to have some videos where I'm doing maybe a 30-second tutorial, or some videos where before I talk about what I'm about to get into, So I feel like making that shift is important, but staying true to what your brand is most important. So.
Yeah, you just have to remember what you stand for.
Culture, core values.
And I feel like,
every day, go ahead.
And I feel like too, if you have a business and you see that the market is changing, your business should already kind of have a vision of where you want to be in 5 years. And also, when the market changes or anything, there's still a gap in the market. So that's where your company already has core values. And one of those core values, you attack that gap and then just reapply it to the market.
I have a question just for the panel. One question that I have is, I think some of you have mentioned some of the mistakes that you actually made, or some of the things, not necessarily mistakes, but some of the decisions you made that didn't come out as well as you expected. Can you actually provide an example of something that happened where you started one way and you had to actually pivot and do something a little bit different, and you found that to be more profitable?
I kind of talked about it through my channel with rebranding. First, it was scary because my video of where I was introducing Capable, because first it was Beauty by KP, and I was just me doing tutorials. But the video where I was introducing Capable was at 500 views in 8 months. It was, I don't think people really want to see that. And I have a video where it was at almost 100K, and that was me doing a natural hair tutorial. So it was I was scared and thinking oh, what if this change is not good? What if it doesn't bring in people? But I feel you just have to continue to believe in yourself. You have to continue to know the purpose, your purpose. What's the quote about your purpose lies within your passion? Literally what you're passionate about, your purpose will be involved in that. And then, so after a few months, I started making the videos, and I have a popular one, and it's How to Shoot Your Shot. That one's for males, if y'all want to check that out. How to Shoot Your Shot to females, and that one is at almost 60K. So it's just me being passionate about that and knowing somebody's going to listen. It's going to click for somebody. And I keep trying. Still videos to this day. Everything is not going to go viral. Everything is not going to have a large amount of views or whatever. But you have to just remain consistent and believing in yourself, and it'll happen. It will happen. That's literally just how it goes, I feel like. Anybody else?
The question was like an example of when you started going out. You started going one route, and then something changed, and you had to pivot. Anybody? No. I had a store selling baby products. That was when I first met Mike. I was selling baby products, and I told him that our first meeting together. He was like, "Hold on, you're passionate about writing, but you're selling baby products. Like, where's the correlation between that?" And I was like, "Well, you can't make money as a writer." And that was my belief, but it's not true. You know, I learned that once you have a passion, there is value in whatever skill you have, and so just finding how to sell that value. And so over time, I just started pushing that, and pushing my writing, my ghostwriting, writing books for other people, and eventually I started making a profit from it. And it felt way better than just selling baby products from China. You know, because it was where my heart was, and I decided to stick with that. Any more questions? No, I have one last question. So, so what's some advice that you can give someone on growing as a leader?
I say just find your motivation, find your why, because that's going to help you, be able to lead that. If it's not something that you're passionate about or not something that you believe in, then, it's going to be pretty difficult to lead in that and grow and lead in that. So find your purpose, find your why. Don't be scared to, like we talked about earlier, find influences, people that you look up to. What else, y'all?
Definitely finding your why, and like I said earlier, not being afraid to follow before you lead. Sometimes people want to be chiefs and not Indians, and you have to understand that even your role might be small, but it's important, and it also allows you to see the importance in your role and the importance in what you're good at, and it helps you develop even more as a leader. I never thought that I would be in leadership roles or anything. The most I thought I would do is be line leader, door holder kind of thing. But it's just you really have to grow. That's how you grow into yourself. That's how you find your value. You got to just figure out how to follow first and then see what you're good at to help you learn how to lead. So that's what I would do.
Never stop learning.
Yes.
Look how old I am. I've got an MBA in accounting and finance from this wonderful university. And my MBA is from 1992, and during class, I hate to read. I still hate to read. But if you don't find something and learn about it, if you Google leadership, you're going to find millions of articles and millions of books. Continue to learn, just read something different, and make yourself read that book, or make yourself read something different. And go outside your box in reading that stuff. Go outside your mindset. Be surprised what you learn.
Yeah, identify your flaws, identify your weaknesses, the areas that you need to work on.
I guess since I'm really not as experienced as the people up here with me, my true advice would be just be genuine and don't believe that you're better than anybody else, because at the end of the day we're all one, we're all equal. So don't think you're better than somebody else as a leader role. Don't try to lead with authority. Lead with a sense of being just a genuine person, being a person that anybody can come talk to about anything that it might be. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
What was a marketing platform or a marketing tactic that really worked for you specifically? And this goes to everybody.
On Instagram, my tactics were staying consistent, staying different, staying fresh, staying new. Initially, before I, grew my following, I used a lot of hashtags. What else? Reaching out to people on Instagram too. Don't be scared to send out your flyers. And just kind of express what you have going on too.
My biggest advice is allow people to see who you are. Allow people to really feel like you are reachable. Allow people to, because I feel I was doing well, my page was doing well, but when I started posting snippets of my YouTube videos onto my Instagram, that created a larger outreach. Because it's I think about the girls that I look up to and that I follow, and if they just post a bunch of pictures, I'm I will get tired of it. I want to see more. Give me more of you. What is your life like? What do you go through? What is your everyday you have to really show that personal side so people can feel that gives them more of a reason to support you because they feel like they know you. Like when you do put out a product, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, let me go to this because she reminds me of this and she reminds me of myself and da. So I just feel like, just showcasing who you really are and genuinely are definitely does help marketing wise. It does.
And I feel like it's all about like your content. So it's like social media, the whole point of social media is to be social. So people want to be like social with your content. So with content, only two things that make it shareable, which is what you want so other people will see it, is literally if you're entertaining them or they're learning from you. So if like her videos, like she's working out, so they're learning new exercises, or she's doing hair tutorials, and then boom, she makes them laugh. So like, damn, like it's both, So it's like making content that has to fit one or two of those categories, because if not, then no one's going to share it. And the whole point of making content is to share it. So yeah.
So you want me to end on an old man note? So my company is B2B. We have social media, we have posts, we have a website. We've received 0 business in 18 years from it. We're there because we have to be there. So my advice to you is talk to every single person in this room, because what I tell you when we first started meeting, it's not what you do, it's who you know. It's who you know. And I promise you, my 15,000 business cards, and I have them. Now some of them are in a computer, okay? That's how you're successful. So you do have followers, and it's that's the way a lot of the B2C is, but in B2B, it's who you know. So always, when you're in a room like this, take advantage of shaking as many hands and meeting as many people as you can.
So there it is, episode number 24, part 2 of your Visionary Leadership panel. And this part of the episode is called the Visionary Minute, where I usually go over some key takeaways from the previous episode. But today I want to switch it up. I'm going to do something new. And so during this Visionary Minute, I'm going to do a poem, right? Because if you don't know, I do write poetry. I have a few poetry books. And on campus at Kennesaw State, I have this thing called Poems on the Green, where I set up a table on the green. People walk up, they give me a word, and I write a poem right there. And so my friend Kayla, who is actually one of the panelists on the episode, she suggested that I start doing poetry on the podcast. And so I never thought about it before, but now that she planned to see it, I'm just going to do it. So here it is. It's a poem about leadership. Learning how to grow when life is not going the way you want it. But a flower can grow in concrete when it has the right amount of light on it. In a world where opportunities are everywhere, why is it still so hard to get ahead and find the answers when you know they got to be there? Moving ahead, wondering if anybody sees the growth. Faced with tough decisions, trying to master this thing called self-control. And once commitment is found, it should lead down the right road. But when you're racing against time, you feel like it'll take too long. And once you get there, you might be too old. But as long as we're breathing, there's always room for growth. And there's always someone watching, and they'll also be watching tomorrow. So work with that in mind and know that in order to lead, you will sometimes have to follow. Boom, so there it is. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, if you want me to keep doing that, send me a message. Let me know that you heard it. Let me know that you rocked with it and that I should keep doing it. And also, if you enjoyed the episode, go on iTunes, go on Spotify, go on YouTube, and subscribe, and then leave a comment, leave a review. I'd appreciate it. And so I'll see you guys next time on the next episode. Make sure to go listen to some of the previous ones while I work on releasing the next one. There it is. Visionary Siege out. Peace.